Most people just don't know how money works.
Exactly.
Warren Buffett likes to call it a language.
Right.
Like if you don't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
you get dropped in the Dominican Republic, you're not going to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
If you don't speak money, you're not going to earn well. You're not going to keep it.
Of course.
So you have to learn the language.
There was a concept here that you brought me back to. I haven't thought about in a few weeks. We have a human debt, a social debt, that when we have a surplus and abundance of resources, that we are bound by this social obligation to care for those who don't. If there's a kid bleeding on the street and there's cars passing, is the average person going to go in and try to get the kid out at the risk of their own life? And the answer is, yeah, of course. Any sane adult would do that. But then when we think about something like charitable giving and someone's at a millionaire or billionaire, charitable giving is an optional thing. Society views it as if you have it in your heart, can you? There's no like social obligation to it. Even though on the other side of the earth, there's this kid who's starving. Right. I have to say, this is, I have to believe in some sort of higher force and faith, because who would have thought that human engineering and biology would build this mechanism in place so that when you do something for someone else, it just lifts you. Like that goes against almost all evolution and all evolutional science.
Absolutely.
So there's something there.
But what I want to do here, this is very unique to the show that we're running here, is I just want to be able to have a conversation around what coaching for impact is.
Sure.
Because we're referring people and they just don't get it. They're like, what do you mean no cost? What do you mean Chase Bank? So I just figure there's some people who could really benefit from it. There's already people who are benefiting from it that I've met, right? There's some people that I've introduced you. Valerie came back and she was like, I couldn't believe how amazing that was. I thought it was going to take me like 2 years to be able to do this.
No.
And she zoned in. Just so you know, she has the gym.
Yeah.
You know about her mom?
Oh, yeah.
So what she's done at the gym, awesome, excellent. She's going to do the remodel. She got the loan already.
Yeah.
But ever since we started working with her, and really after you started working with her, she just really took over the chief operating position at
That's
Ferreras.
fantastic.
And the business is turning around. That business was like months away from failure.
Is that right?
Yep.
That's a great story to hear.
Yep.
But, you bring up the point about what's this about, what's the catch. As I mentioned to you, we just had one of our recent graduations on Wednesday, 2 days ago. And so
Get a little closer.
Twice a year. Yeah, twice a year what we do is we graduate the folks that have gone through the program, the 4-month program.
Yep.
And as I was telling you, it was my first time having graduates, because I had been with the bank for only 14 months. But one of the participants in the program got up, because we allowed every business owner to get up, say who they are, what the business, and how did this program impact you. And he said exactly that. When I first met him, for the first 5 minutes, he's like, all right, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
What's the catch? This can't be true. Yeah. And it wasn't until he said it the third time that I looked him right in the eye. I said, I'm not here to lie. I'm telling you this is the program. We will customize the 4 months that you spend with me any way you want. And we will discuss whatever you want. And he joined it and absolutely loved it. And he got something out of it.
You're making me want to join it.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And, on Wednesday at the graduation, I had the opportunity to speak. And I told every business owner in there, you're as much an inspiration to me as, you think I might be to you. You make me want to work harder for you and make sure that you get the information that you need, because for many of them, listen, you know this as well as I do, they don't have a net to fall back on. Yeah. They take risks, and a lot of times they're doing it on their own, and it's a very lonely world. To see them join the program and to be able to open up about what's really their pain points or what's bothering or they'd like to get to the next level is one thing. But then to see what sponges they become when you start telling them things, they have such an urge to learn, learn what they didn't know.
It's almost like they've been dying for someone to tell them this their whole life, and to the point where they don't believe that person exists anymore.
That's exactly
a lot of
what it
people
is.
don't know what coaches do.
Right.
And thanks to Instagram,
Yeah.
a lot of people know what they shouldn't do.
Right.
People think that coaches are scams.
Yes.
And
yes.
for good reason, because a lot of them are.
They definitely are. So, this program, Coaching for Impact, first started in 2020 with one consultant.
Oh, wow. 2020.
Yeah. And so the whole concept behind it was that we understand and respect how important the small business community is to every community that they serve.
Yep.
It's not just who they are, it's who do they employ? How do they get involved with the communities that their businesses serve? And so a lot of times, many of them have never had the opportunity to sit with a coach whose main goal is to help them out. And, for our leadership to create this program and have it a complementary program where the client does not have, there's no expense outlay for them.
Or even expectation. They don't have to be a Chase client.
No, they don't even have to be a Chase client. So as a consultant, I am not allowed to sell bank products or services.
Amazing.
Now, if a client, I develop very good relationships with a lot of them. So they may come back at one point and, we've discussed, cash flow's tight. Here's where, well, Jay, tell me about the credit card or how do I open an account? And I don't even get involved.
Yeah.
I say, here's who you want to talk to.
Yep.
I hand it off to them, and I just continue to do the consulting and the coaching for them. So what started as one consultant 5 years ago is now up to over 80 consultants across the country. We are in 39 metropolitan areas across the U.S. You think of any major city, any metropolitan area, we now have a presence with Coaching for Impact.
How did this start? 2020, was it COVID driven?
Yeah, so if you look back, and it was on 60 Minutes, Chase made a major commitment to the city of Detroit when they were having some financial problems. I remember. And really the concept was we were going to provide input and we were going to make some financial commitments, but it wasn't going to be necessarily directly to the city. Sure. It was going to be to the nonprofit organizations that provide workforce training. To handle overall financial literacy, and from there, they saw the need for a consultant to do kind of what we are all doing now. So it actually started in Detroit.
Cool,
and it made sense.
Yep.
I think the banks thought there was potential there.
Yep.
And 5 years later, over 12,000 businesses later that we have coached.
Wow.
This is where we are today. And I could tell you that we are still, I think, scratching the surface a little bit on what we can provide.
Yep.
I'm part of a community development group, as we call it here in New England and Boston. It also includes a community manager who handles a lot of the financial literacy, budgeting. They'll go into for-profit and nonprofits and actually provide training to not only the constituents, but to the staff. A lot of these nonprofits, they have staff who right out of school investing in 401ks don't really understand it.
Yeah.
We also have a community investment manager who is very, very sharp, and he spends his time going to these communities, going to some of the younger people at these organizations, and this is all complimentary. It's all complimentary.
That's incredible.
So it's become a team that we've worked tremendously together, and as we expand, we see the potential to do even more. Now, I'm not going to lie, Lawrence is my hometown, and I have a very, very special spot in my heart for it. And so when I took this job, and I'm very fortunate that I was given the opportunity to do so, Lawrence wasn't necessarily selected as one of the territories that I was going to cover. And I respectfully asked that I do want to cover it for so many reasons. And we are now, as you know, going to have a business social in 2 weeks at the Lawrence branch, where already we have close to 80 people have signed up.
Excellent.
Most of them business owners.
Yep.
Advisors like yourself and community and business leaders, because we feel that this is an unknown resource that we want people to get to know more about it.
It is.
And I think, we got to the point where the momentum's there and the bank is now seeing some of the impact that we're having in the communities in Massachusetts. that they're behind it 100%. So I'll tell you, for our graduation last week, we had the national director of my program come in from LA and my boss from New York. For the business social that we're having, we've got people coming from New York as well. So they're starting to say, what's going on in Mass? What are you guys doing there? And it's great exposure. And I can't tell you that I've had a job that is more meaningful. And I've had some great opportunities in my career, but this one, at this point in my career, to have this opportunity, it's just a blessing.
I got to tell you, Jay, you know I'm going to retire early. I've told you
Yes,
this already.
yes.
I think you are living in my dream world. Post-retirement.
Yeah.
Like I had this plan where it's like, I'm going to amass all the capital I need to live for the rest of my life. Unfortunately, my wife still is going to have to work till like 60. We're going through that, but she's going to have to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after that, I just literally want to write and mentor entrepreneurs. Ideally, mentor entrepreneurs and partners because I'm still an investor.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you're doing that as a job right now.
Absolutely. And, it's a combination. Obviously, I'm a little bit older than you, but it's a combination of the experiences that I've been fortunate to have in business.
Yep.
As you know, I also helped a startup for 4 years, so I've been there, done that. But it's, through the business experiences that I've had, combine that with being, a kid from Lawrence, who had the privilege of growing up with almost every ethnic group you can imagine and rub elbows and have friendships with them. That's education in itself.
It
you
is.
can't teach that at any school.
Nope.
And then thirdly, I was fortunate enough, I was a YMCA kid pretty much my whole life. And I'll never forget, my first job in banking was at 238 Essex Street, right in Lawrence, which is now the Vault. That was a headquarters for a bank back then. And I'd been there for 2 years, and the executive director at the YMCA in Lawrence, a gentleman by the name of Walt Kimball, who we called Kim, called me up. No, he saw me playing hoop at the gym. We used to go during lunch sometimes, and he said to me and a good friend of mine I grew up with, you know what, in 2 weeks, you need to come to a meeting here, 9:00, Monday morning, be here. I said, what's it about? He goes, you two are now on the board of advisors on the Lawrence YMCA.
That's awesome.
And we're looking at each other. I don't even know what that means.
Board of who?
Yeah. Who am I advising? Does he really know what my background is? It just started an opportunity for me to now, I've been involved with nonprofits in the city for the past 30 plus years.
I'm getting involved in the YMCA again too. I grew up in the Y.
Yeah.
Do you know Adelante?
Sure. Great program.
I was in the Adelante program.
Yeah.
I actually just had lunch with Joe Augusto.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy.
And
great
he was
guy.
like, listen, we have an event April 10th. First, I need you to sponsor the event. I was like, I'm going to talk to my CFO, but okay.
Yeah.
And then I need you to speak at the event because we're trying to find Adelante alums who are like in a good place living.
Absolutely.
And it was a blast from the past. Seventh grade. He took me all the way back to seventh grade.
Isn't it unbelievable?
I love that.
You think about, you combine those three, growing up here,
Yep.
my business experience, and now sitting on boards in the city of Lawrence for many, many years.
Yeah.
It gave me an appreciation and a desire to want to give back everything I can. So when this opportunity now came up to be a consultant, executive coach,
Amazing.
and to share both my successes and failures, which believe me, I've had a lot. I'm not going to lie.
All greats do.
But now when I sit and talk to business owners and really listen, and number one, get them to open up because
that's tough.
they need to do the most of the talking.
Yeah.
Because I won't be able to help them if it's just me trying to, tell them what to do or how to do it. I need to understand where they're coming from, not only business-wise, personally, and everything else. But those three experiences, I feel honored to have the opportunity right now to share a lot of that, to share what I've been able to do over those 35 years. Now with so many business owners who are just so gritty, so mentally tough, and they just need that little direction here or little direction there.
I've always thought, I used to be a financial advisor prior to being here, and I always worked with entrepreneurs. And unfortunately, in that industry, you're not incentivized to help everyone, financially incentivized. And that's kind of the thing that started putting me off into the industry. But I've always thought that the right coach, mentor, advisor, whatever you want to call it, needs two key things that unfortunately is too rare, in my opinion. The first one is business acumen.
Yep.
That one's not that rare, but if you look at it per capita, per population, it's like most people just don't know how money works.
Exactly.
It's a Warren Buffett likes to call it a language.
Right?
Like if you don't speak Spanish,
Yeah.
you get dropped in the Dominican Republic, you're not going to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
If you don't speak money, you're not going to earn well, you're not going to keep it.
Of course.
So you have to learn the language.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people have business acumen, but you need the business acumen and then you actually need to care.
You just nailed it.
And I met so many people, Jay, I'm sure you have too, who are phenomenal people. And they have great business acumen, and I'm not calling them out for it. They selfishly want to take care of themselves, their families, and the people around them. They don't see a need internally.
They do not.
To go past that.
No.
And I'm not, I've been reading on this. This is a philosophical debate. Do you know much about Milton Friedman?
Yes.
Phenomenal guy.
Yes.
Changed the landscape of economics.
Yep.
Most people don't know around that time, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to butcher it. There was another gentleman who had just as influential of a concept, but Friedman won. And Friedman was the one that changed the concept of, corporations are designed to do what's in the best interest of the stakeholder. And he just changed that word out for shareholder.
Yep. Absolutely.
And since then, our economy's done incredible things, but the average person has struggled.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the difference between, as you had mentioned, looking at your client as a transaction or as a relationship.
Yep.
And I think the beauty of the Coaching Impact program is it allows us to develop that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
We're not, the program's only 4 months at a time, but during those 4 months, we are doing one-on-one and developing a relationship that will go on beyond the 4 months.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So, every client or participant that I've graduated knows that I'm a cell phone call away. And they call me all the time, and then I encourage them to call me, and I tell them, if you don't call me, I'm going to call you.
Awesome.
So we just continue that communication. And for me, to see them start from here and just go to the next level is just, it's so rewarding.
What I have to say for Chase, though, because, I've seen a lot of business acumen people who care about their clients, who are relationship-based people, but their clients are, high net worth individuals. So it's like, there's a reason to care. There's an incentive to care, right? It's amazing to see Chase doing this, understanding that at least in the short term, 2 to 10 year period, we're not seeing financial incentive. But if we stimulate communities, if we give them what they haven't had, then I bet you all of that stuff will align over time as well.
And I think that's part of the plan. So
that makes so much sense.
The criteria, the only 2 criteria for this program is you have to be in operations for at least 2 years, and you have to have minimum $100,000 in gross revenue.
Yeah,
that's not a lot.
Nope.
That can be your mom and pop corner store, but I've also dealt with companies doing 15, 20 million.
Yeah.
And it's the opportunity for a lot of them, like you said. Could a company doing 200,000 necessarily afford a consultant that they're paying for a year? Probably not. So we have the opportunity to open their eyes, provide insight and resources, which is another big part of it. Not only internally, but connections that we've made that we know externally. If a client needs a certain resource, I have faith in the bullpen that I've been able to build with trusted advisors that I'm going to say, here's a few people that you need to talk to. And I just know from their background that you're going to like them, but at the end of the day, you make the decision. I don't get involved in those meetings. You know that. I make the introduction, and then it's up to them and the advisor to come to an agreement. And that has also been a huge turnaround for a lot of these companies. And just going back to what you said earlier, financial, finance is a different language. Many of these business owners got into business because of a passion, a skill set that they had. They didn't know they had to become business people.
They didn't know they had to learn payroll and HR.
Exactly. So that's what I tell them. I said, that's not your fault.
Nope.
You got into the business for the right reason. But guess what? Now that you're starting to see some success, you now have to become a business person. And that's just knowing your numbers. That doesn't mean you have to become Rob or Toby,
Sure.
the accountant. But if I ask you, 6 months from now, what'd you do in, what was your revenue in January?
Yeah.
What was the P&L? What did it look like?
You got to know.
You have to know that, especially when it comes time to go see a bank to do the actual lending.
Yep.
That they want to see that knowledge and that confidence that you have, that you at least know your numbers.
Yeah, they're investing in you, and the bank's in the business of getting a return, right? If they just loaned money to everyone who was going to be careless with it, they'd be out of business.
Exactly.
And it's amazing what the story can do. Banks, people are intimidated by banks. They think I'm not big enough or it hasn't been. It's like if you know your business and you have some data, 9 times out of 10, a bank's going to help you.
They want to see a nice, clean, and that's one thing that I help them with, right? Is when it comes time to go into a bank, I know how banks think. I know the language.
Yeah.
I could put together a financial package because I've done it. I've been an underwriter. I've been a lender. I know what kind of package they want to see, and we wrap it up nice and tight so that when they go in and you hit it on the head again, it's the confidence.
Yep.
Don't go in there intimidated.
Yep.
You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you because there's a lot of banks out there.
Bingo.
So it's so important for them to gain that confidence, and confidence comes with knowledge.
Yes.
Knowing the numbers creates the confidence.
Yes.
So we spend a lot of time doing that as well.
That's amazing, man. I don't know if you ever heard this. I'm going to find you the paper. I'm going to send it to you. It blew my mind when I found it because they were like 18 months apart from Milton's key paper that just transitioned that word to shareholder. But there was a concept here that you brought me back to. I haven't thought about in a few weeks. There's another guy who thought, we have a human debt, a social debt, that when we have a surplus and abundance of resources, that we are bound by this social obligation to care for those who don't.
Absolutely.
It's a way different concept than Milton went, right?
Absolutely.
And he used this analogy. He was a philosophical guy, so he tried to use logic and reason in the paper. And he used this analogy of like, if there's a kid bleeding on the street, and there's cars passing, is the average person going to go in and try to get the kid out at the risk of their own life? And the answer is, yeah, of course. Any sane adult would do that. But then when we think about something like charitable giving, and someone's at a millionaire or billionaire style, charitable giving is an optional thing. Society views it as if you have it in your heart, can you? There's no like social obligation to it. Even though on the other side of the earth, there's this kid who's starving.
Right.
And it's just such an interesting way to look at it. I've been going back to this a lot. I don't know how much I've told you about my mom, Jay, but she has been the reason that I am so socially driven.
Absolutely.
And we can talk about her story forever. She came here when she was 15 with basically people she didn't know. They were her parents, but a whole nother story there. And she was scared and she wanted to go back home to the farmland with no electricity or running water. And she didn't, and she stuck it out. And it wasn't for none of those reasons that I think she inspired me, even though that's incredible. It's because growing up, even when I saw that she didn't have a ton, even when I saw that she was grinding just to be able to get home at a reasonable hour, usually far after I fell asleep and my dad wasn't around, she would just always take care of other people. I never knew why.
It's something that's innate in a lot of ways. And I think it's a lot of it's based on your upbringing, right? And you talk about philanthropy and the need to give back. I'm in the same boat as you, but not everybody has the financial backing to do it.
Absolutely.
But that's where you see volunteerism come in. You see how many people volunteer on a regular basis who are getting nothing from it.
Yep.
Don't want to be in the spotlight.
Yep.
But just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and you know what? To the nothing from it, I have to say this is there's I have to believe in some sort of higher force and faith, because who would have thought that human engineering and biology would build this mechanism in place so that when you do something for someone else, it just lifts you. Like that goes against almost all evolution,
Right.
And all evolutional science.
Absolutely.
So there's something there.
That's absolutely. So I'm fortunate right now. I'm the chairman of the board of trustees for the Merrimack Valley Y. And we only meet 4 times a year. But previously, like Toby, I started on the Lawrence board.
Yeah.
And so I've been involved a long time. But I start each meeting with a quote about volunteerism from some of the greatest quotes of all time. I looked them up. And it inspires everybody that's in that room. And many of them have been volunteering for a long time. Yep. But to actually hear it again, and it's a different quote I use at every meeting, it just gets people's juices going again on, this is why we're here. This is what it's all about.
That's it.
And you go back to your mom. You know, my grandparents came over as immigrants, and they both came over here with nothing in their pockets, going to somewhere they didn't know, left some of their family behind, and you know, they started as entrepreneurs. One grandfather in Lawrence for many, many years was a shoemaker. If you called him a cobbler, he got very upset. He was a shoemaker. So we saw at a young age what entrepreneurialism. My other grandfather owned a grocery store, convenience store.
Awesome.
So at young age, we saw that. But I didn't really appreciate it until I got older, knowing that they came here. And it wasn't even necessarily the next generation, like my parents, that benefited the most from them coming here. It was my generation. So my grandparents came over, not even knowing who we were yet. Made that sacrifice for us, for that second generation. And so when you say we have to support every business owner who has come from anywhere, from any part of the world, or started it up here as an entrepreneur, we owe it to them to try to help them as much as possible.
I agree 100%. Every time I sit down with an entrepreneur, I think to myself, damn, someone did something for me 8.5 years ago. And I remember kind of being in this situation, and I have to push it forward.
Absolutely. And I see you in action. And I see the passion that you take with it, and you have a totally different set of skill sets that I don't have, but you use it for the right reason, right? And I've heard you talk and explain, and your generosity, and you know the compassion that you bring, because we've worked on some clients together, and we know some of these situations are tougher than others. But you bring your job with a passion because you care about it, and you end up caring about the client, the participant in the program. And if we could get more to kind of take that same philosophy and stop making it a transaction, but make it a relationship, this world, I think, would be a better place.
I'll spend the rest of my life doing that, and it's not my fault. It's my mom's. and growing up, I used to ask her, like, Ma, why are you doing that for this person? You know they're not going to appreciate it. You know they're going to waste it. You know they're going to come back and ask for help again. You were not even helping them. We're just throwing a Band-Aid on the problem. Right. And as early as today, I'm talking to my chief accounting officer because he's like, Rob, man, my chief accounting officer, we built this in 2022. We really raised the standard. Actually, no, 23, when I came over as CEO. I told him, hey, Mike, and he's a Fortune 500 guy. You know, he's been auditing books at massive Fortune 10 for most of his career. And now he's looking at these small business books. And I said, Mike, this is going to suck, but I'm going to make you responsible for all the general ledgers and tax returns that JBS pushes out on the corporate side. So I know you don't have 250 clients, 300 clients, but now you do. You're responsible for the quality of the books, the quality of the tax returns. So like, it's a crazy long process. And he's looking at me like, Rob, these clients aren't paying us. Like, if we doubled the fee, we're still losing money on some of these clients. And I'm sitting there convincing him, yeah, I know, but I promise you, once we get everyone to want to legitimize, because that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're spending a lot of time telling business owners, trust me, I'm going to be able to help you, but I need you to deposit all of your revenue, including the cash. I need you to pay people with W-2s. Like, I need you to start payroll. None of this envelope stuff. And when you do all that, I promise you, I need you to get off of food stamps. Like, we're going through this. And people are fighting us, but some people are listening, and it's working.
You know why? Because you're teaching them about generational wealth, right? So the only way you can build generational wealth through a business is legitimizing it, right? Because now you can go to the bank and you can show the numbers to buy the building, to expand to 2 or 3 locations. And once they kind of understand that and then see what the future brings, and that their kids and maybe their grandkids are going to either be part of the business, or there's an exit strategy where they're going to come into a good amount of money.
Yep.
That's what makes the difference.
That's it.
So we kind of try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all about that generational wealth. And unfortunately, there are some ethnic groups more than others that haven't had the opportunity.
Yeah.
But now they are. Yeah. And we're seeing it more and more. And to work with them and for them and get them to understand, what you're doing and how important it is and where you're going to be maybe 10 years from now, it opens their eyes.
It does. I've been working with clients for like 8-9 years in a row now who I've seen it like I have proof. Now I'm confident. In the beginning, man, when I was 22, 23 telling people this, they were looking at me like, who are you?
Yeah.
You look like you're 12. Like now I get to say like, all right, I'm going to call a client of mine real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask him for permission to put him on speaker. And then we're going to talk about what we did over the last 7 years. Like I can prove this to you.
There's no better proof when they hear it from another entrepreneur,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And someone who came from where they came from. That's the thing. That's the reason why our communities need to see people who look like them, is because like you don't believe it until you see it, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
Like people tell you stuff and you kind of hesitate to believe adults until it resonates.
Right. So going back to your mom and how she helped everybody, I bet you her philosophy, and she'd probably tell you that, is even if one of them turned out to be and appreciated and came back and said, thank you so much, you changed my life, it's worth it.
And she had someone like that when she was at her second job ever in the U.S. She had this manager who took her in, said, I'm going to teach you business. It was at a large retail store. I don't remember. I think it's Alexander's. Mm-hmm. It's now gone. But he did that. I don't know why. She doesn't know why. And we just keep passing it forward, not knowing why.
That's
it. And it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, what you're saying about the generational stuff, I've been working on this framework. I've been working on a few frameworks. Someone convinced me in Q4 of last year, Jay, to put my business philosophy, practices, and frameworks onto paper. And I started that in December, and it's been a very interesting journey.
Could make a great book someday.
Someday. That's what I've always wanted to do, but there's no money in books.
Yeah,
I got to make money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But this is a raw one that I've been working on. I like to share it with you, and I guess anyone that listens to this. Alvaro, he's the only other person I know personally that geeks out just as much as I do about economic history.
Yeah.
So we started looking at economic data, and we went back like 10,000 BC. I won't bore you with that stuff. We're working on a very interesting project. Eventually, I'll put it on paper. I'll share it with you. But for purposes of this conversation, capitalism really didn't form the way we know it until the U.S. formed, right? Mm-hmm. Most people don't know this, but The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, was written it was published the same year as the Constitution.
Wow.
Like 1776. What a pivotal year.
Okay.
And we didn't know what division of labor was. We didn't know what capitalist societies were. Before then, it was just like, if you were a monarch or knew the monarchs, you had money. And if you didn't have money. And capitalism actually leveled the playing field. It gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very upset with capitalism. I think they just don't understand it.
They don't.
It's emotionless.
Yes.
Capitalism doesn't care. It's just a function, a system of society. And it's the best one because it leveled the playing field. In 1776, we started playing a new game. The challenge is, because like all games, it has to have rules and a design. Some people were just naturally further ahead. Mm-hmm. Those people were European by descent, right? They were colonizers by descent. Right. The way we invented this, capital historically comes from the word cattle because of the formation. Adam Smith didn't invent capitalism. You can't invent something like that. He was just the one that put it on paper the best. But capitalism goes back to 5,000-ish BC with agriculture. Right. We started farming. We had cattle. The word
trades,
capital.
The whole trade industry.
Yeah, until
across the country. Yeah.
Exactly. Until we farmed, we didn't have trades. It was just like, no, we're just looking for food. All we ever did was just look for food.
Right.
And our cattle became our capital. That's where the word derives from.
Right.
So the challenge is when we started playing, slavery is still a thing. Colonized societies were way behind technological, especially in the farming game and the infrastructure of banking game.
Sure.
So there was just some people that started way ahead of others. And a lot of us have just been catching up.
Yep.
It's only been 300 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that long.
Yeah. But so the interesting part that comes out of that too is that, think about it. Anybody can try and start their own business, right? And be an entrepreneur
Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
today. It really is.
Yep.
You don't have to.
Nope.
Nobody forces you to do it. And yeah, is there a risk of failure?
Yep.
Sure there is. If you're that afraid of failure, then you probably don't make that jump. But if you have a vision that you're so passionate about and the naysayers are going to be attacking you from every side, and I've seen it happen, and you just keep going with that mindset that nobody's going to stop me. You can tell me it's the dumbest idea you've ever heard. I know where I want to be. You don't see it. I see it. You don't see it. And there's no way. And I've seen people become so successful because they took all the negativity and just let it bounce off.
It's just focus.
That's it. Bounce off and keep moving forward.
Yep. They're my favorite people.
Oh, man.
And I don't know what it is about them.
Yeah, I just,
it's like the
sometimes,
tenacity.
I think sometimes, I love dealing with entrepreneurs because I think I'm a wannabe entrepreneur.
Yeah. I think you kind of are.
Yeah.
You just always had interesting clients.
Yeah.
Interesting subsidies.
Yeah. It just, to hear their stories and to question how they did it, why they did it.
Yep.
It absolutely fascinates me.
Well, I think the entire future of work is going that way. If you think of yourself now as an entrepreneur, with Chase being your client, your only client,
Right.
But your client,
Right.
you kind of operate in an entrepreneurial fashion.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not like you're sitting in an office, you have to be here, there's this deadline. It's like,
No.
aren't you technically
No.
by activity, you're an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I'm out looking for as many entrepreneurs as I can, but once I have them, we customize.
You got partners.
Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty of it is, like I said earlier, we can customize. We don't put you in a block and say, you're in this industry and this is what I'm going to show you. We customize based on what I hear from them. And it could be different. It could be organizational structure. It could be delegation, which you see as a big one.
Yep.
It could be, understanding your margins a little bit better. Why are you charging that? Well, because my competitor does. That doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
So sometimes I get them to understand their numbers a lot better than they did previously, and then it kind of hits them.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to improve my cash flow. We talk about branding, which I'm a fanatic about.
Awesome.
I pretty much have every client, as we start, I said, I want to know your mission statement and your value statement. Some of them don't have them.
Right.
And at first they're a little nervous to go through that process, but I'm going to give you one example. 2 partners who did not have one, and they were like, I don't know how, how are we going to get to that? I said, I want you to do it. Next time I met with them, they said, Jay, we spent 2.5 hours, just the 2 of us talking back and forth about what that means. And oh my God, it was so helpful.
It's like the most important thing
we never
they've
even
done.
thought about it.
Yeah.
So if anything, I'm going to get them to now think about what is their business, how do you want to be perceived in the community as a business and as an individual and a person. And once you get that, I'm a believer that everything else flows down from that. So the culture starts here. You now have your marketing and your branding based on that culture. You now have, when you bring in a new employee, do they fit into this culture? They may have the technical skills, but do they actually fit into the culture?
Now they don't have to spend the $20,000 hiring and firing this person.
That's right, because now you know what you want to be, what the company wants to be, and who you want to have as part of that team. So very powerful.
This is awesome. I'm telling you that I'm not even kidding. We work with advisors all the time. It's been a while. It's been a while since I engaged with advisors. I felt like I had to be on my own for a little bit.
Sure.
It'd be very interesting for JBS to go through this program.
I think when I first came, I kind of talked about that a little bit.
We're going to engage.
I love it.
Right after tax season?
Yeah, I would love it because you think about it. Not only is it going to be powerful for you as an organization, but now when you're talking to other clients of yours, you're going to even have a better feel of what this program can do for them.
It's a double win.
When I tell you, I'd be honored if you chose to do that. And it would be a tremendous opportunity for me as well.
And Jay, let me tell you, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. I understand that I'm in the frame. So how could I see the picture clearly?
You know what I mean?
That's what you need sometimes.
Having someone like you, totally independent,
Yep.
asking me questions that really only a couple key people on my team ever ask me.
That's right. That's right.
Something good is gonna come of it. I'm certain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I'd be honored and privileged to do that.
That's gonna be awesome. And I can't wait. Listen, one of the reasons I want to have this conversation is I'm gonna take this now. When I'm talking to people about, hey, have you thought about hiring a coach? Because that's how I'm gonna approach it. The moment I told Toby this, don't tell people that this is free because a lot of things are free and they suck.
That's right.
I'm going to tell people, like, if you're thinking about hiring a coach, I bet you we can get Chase to pay for it.
Yeah. And the other thing that said I also try to tell my participants that it's not necessarily free. Chase is paying for the expense of it.
Yep.
They're paying 80 of us right now
Yep.
to do this.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Provide complimentary services. So it's a huge financial investment for Chase. So I tell them that. Don't take that for granted. Here's what I want you to do. Make sure that you're diligent in meeting with me at least twice a month. And understand calendars change. Entrepreneurs, you get a shift.
Yep.
But let's stay to that. And when I ask you to do a little bit of an assignment,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for me.
Do your homework.
I'm doing it for you so that you can now think about something that maybe you previously hadn't really thought about or had the time to invest in thinking about it. And so once that is cleared,
More people need to know this because people think Chase and they think largest bank in the world.
Yes.
Then they think, banks. Then they think, capitalism. And it's like this victim mentality. And it's like,
yes, they do.
no, man. Look what Chase is trying to do. Chase isn't perfect.
No.
It's a business that needs to do what they need to do for their shareholders because they have a legal responsibility.
Exactly.
All of this has benefited. One of my favorite data points to look at when I think about the pros and cons of capitalism, because it's a phenomenal system with side effects. Nothing doesn't have side effects. Like nothing exists without side effects. My wife's a psychiatric nurse practitioner, so we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
You think about some of the best things that capitalism has done in the last 100 years, 150 years. Childhood mortality to age 5 was 40% pre-1900.
Wow.
So like two lifetime ago.
Imagine that.
And 40% of children died before age 5. That number's under 4% now.
Isn't that incredible?
Capitalism funded the healthcare system.
Yep.
Without one, you don't get the other.
Exactly.
Now we don't have to sit around worrying about our kids dropping dead.
Right.
Like we're struggling to put this into frame.
Yeah, because we've been fortunate to see it. Like that wasn't even a thought for us.
Nope.
40%.
But the previous, your grandparents, my grandparents, they worried about that shit every day.
Absolutely. You think about that, the added pressure that was
amazing.
on them.
Yeah.
So
We have a wonderful and that, we're not even talking about internet leveling the playing field for everyone globally now. Everyone thinks globalization, especially in today's political landscape, and they think this isn't right. And it's like, we just leveled the playing field for everyone. Sure, there's some side effects involved, but there's never been anything more right than this.
So the small business owner who didn't have access to a lot of things even 15, 20 years ago, now have access to some of the things that your major organizations and companies out there have access to.
Exactly. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't know that.
Right. Right.
So we'll keep educating.
Absolutely.
Man. That's what we're
here for. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much.
This is awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.